Good morning and happy Saturday. So today we're going to be starting to work over the tank for the zombie bike, which has now been renamed Copperhead because that's the color we're painting it. So it's going to be, should be known as Copperhead. I thought I'd go through the process I'm going to take on this tank. I've already done some other pieces in that, but I had to actually respray the tank because I kind of had a couple of thin spots on it when I sanded it out the first time, so I ended up respraying it. Great. But I thought I'd show you kind of where, and I don't know how well it's going to pick up, so, but the orange peel and stuff that's on it for spraying it. So it's going to get wet sanded. It's going to be 1500, 2000, 3000, then a cut. I'm going to use the compound, cutting compound on it first. Then we're going to go through to a polish, and then the last phase will be actually putting a coat of wax on it with the buffer. And so after we do all of that pieces, then we'll buff it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you kind of what it looks like stage by stage, where it started out as, and where it's going to try and hopefully end up at. Hopefully it'll not have as much orange peel. So we're going to take a look at this. I've already kind of hit a couple of spots where there's some nibs on it, and you can kind of see where that is. So let's see if we can get in on this at all. But you can kind of see based on the reflections that there's orange peel in there, okay? And you're going to get that no matter what you do when you do it, when you spray it. I don't have an expensive sprayer, right? I'm just using a siphon, not even a gravity feed HVLC type gun. I'm just using an old style, siphon feed, because it's what I had. Right? I already had it. I used it when I painted my 68 Plymouth, and I'm using it here. But we can see the orange peel. You can see the nib spots I just kind of hit with a little 2500 or 2000 rather, just to knock them down before I hit it with the 1500. But you can see the orange peel in it. Now, what I did do, and you can see how that orange peel, you can see the high and low spots in it and the reflections, right? I've already started the bottom side of the tank on this side. So this is a 1500 wet sand, what it looks like now. You'll see there's still some high spots, but we're going to leave those, or low spots actually, we're going to leave those until we get into the 2000 and 3000, right? Because you don't want to take too much paint off and get down into primer of that. So you got to kind of be careful. But that's where we're at with this. So this is what our tank is looking like today. Doesn't look too bad. I mean, shine wise, yeah, it's got some decent reflection. But we're going to see how that, 1500 and then the total polish when we're done. And hopefully we'll be able to get all of that orange peeling out of there. Okay. So let me get this whole, this is gonna take a shit ton of time. Let me get the 1500 done. We'll take a look at it then. Then we'll go to the 2000. We'll look at it then. 3000. We'll look at it then. Blah 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 blah. 100 done. Let's take a look at this in the sunshine. Maybe we can pick some stuff up on it better. So there we go. It's all nice and dull now. Let's see. There's a few. Catch them in the sun. There's a few low spots in there, but I'm not too concerned with that because that's going to come out with the 1500. Or I'm sorry, the 2000 when we get to that point, which is coming up next. So there we are with 1500. This has only taken me about an hour to do. For you it was 2 seconds. So let me get to the 2000 and we'll see how it progresses, and then we'll be back with 3000 buffing, blah blah blah. With the 2000 grit, the left side, the right side is still with the 1500. Let's pull this out into the sun, see if we can actually see a little bit of a difference, because it may not show up on camera too well. But we do have, so the left side's been 2000 grit, right side's been just a 1500. So you see some of the little imperfections that we still had low spots in there are starting to come out, and then those will continue to pull out when we get into the 3000 grit. So let me get this wrapped up with the 2000, and then we'll be back briefly with 3000 before we start doing all the buffing. Because our afternoon thunderstorms will be rolling in pretty soon. But here we are after the 3000 grit. Yeah, around that mount. Yeah, I know it's not so perfect, but it's going to be under a cover, so I'm not too concerned. So at this point, you might be thinking, Judas Priest, you freaking ruined that paint job. We're going to fix that in just a moment. I'm going to actually now start the cut compound part, and then after that, we'll kind of, maybe what I'll do is I'll side by side. I'll do half the tank with the cutting compound, and half was just showing what the 3000 grit looks like after that, and then kind of get an idea of what it actually is going to start turning into. We'll be back. Right side got cutting compound on it, and that's it. I haven't done the polish yet versus that. This is just with the cutting compound. I still have polish and wax phases to do. Alright. And so you see the significant difference just from the 3000 to a cutting compound. There's not really any sun out, but let's go outside anyways. So our polishing phase is done on the tank. Next up will be a coating of wax, and that waxing will not be, you know, put it on, let it dry, wipe it off. We'll be using a microfiber pad for it. Try and get it. This pad, microfiber on the polisher, and I realized I've been waxing wrong all my entire life. Put the wax on, just put it on, don't let it dry, just put it on, use the buffer, drive it in. Amazingly smooth and gloss, and it just hangs up a holds up a whole lot better. We'll be back after that part's done.